Have you ever been on a Christmas cruise? Well, we just got off one on Adventure of the Seas. We're so excited to tell you about all the cool things happening and also just give you an honest review about Adventure of the Seas. So stick around while we go over our review.
All right, hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. In today's series, we're going to be going over Adventure of the Seas. Now, we just got off of a Christmas cruise. We actually got to do an 8-day cruise. So it was very exciting with lots of holiday events. So we want to break down lots of fun little pieces that comes with a holiday sailing, along with what's on Adventure of the Seas all the time. So this Christmas we went on Adventure of the Seas out of Port Canaveral. We did an 8-day sailing. We wanted to escape to warmer weather, and we did have family with us sailing on this one. So my parents came along. Just be prepared for a little bit of wait time when you are at the port coming in, because there's a lot of people wanting to leave and go on adventures for the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, I believe there were 6 ships in port that day, so the traffic was crazy. It was actually super busy. Getting in and out of port wasn't exactly easy, and even the parking garages were full. So it's just something to take into account when you're taking a holiday cruise.
But the cool thing, when you're in port with so many ships, you do get to hear, so I enjoy hearing all the different horns when the ships leave. So each ship, each brand has their own unique, I guess, blast, if you would call it, right before they leave. So we did get to hear Disney. We got to hear, who else was with us? MSC was there. Carnival was there. And then on the way out, we had a little, I guess, salute horn to allure the seas as we passed her.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. So Allure and Adventure were kind of doing a little salute back and forth as we passed in the port of Canaveral, which was really neat to just see. So I actually have a video of that for you guys right here. Now, as you can see in the video, it was raining, but it was still a good time. Instead of going up to the pool deck for the castaway sailing or the sail away party, we decided just to stay on our balcony where it was covered and watch that salute there. But that was pretty neat, nice little rainbow at the end. So it was just a cool little exit to start the vacation.
The rainbow was a neat surprise.
So one of the cool things about being on a Christmas or a holiday sailing was everybody is super festive and in the mood. So as we walked down the hallways, every single door had magnets on it. Some were completely wrapped like gifts, which was really cool. People were just being super festive, wearing fun attire all cruise along. You know, the staff's walking around wearing Santa hats. It was just really neat to see the ship. Not just the ship decorations done up like the Christmas tree and stuff, but actually like the passengers getting involved and decorating their actual cabin doors and just being festive throughout the entire cruise.
And they added on extra nights. So not only did you have like a Christmas attire night, they had a red and green night, they had an ugly Christmas sweater night, along with like your formals in the dining room. So lots of people got into it, lots of Christmas jammies, which we may do next year. I was jealous of that when they all showed up in their Christmas jammies. So we may do that, but it was a different experience. It was really cool to see everybody in the festive spirit.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so another neat thing is you got to see the Christmas tree lighting, which was really cool. So obviously the promenade was decorated and they had the Christmas tree there. And I actually have a video of this for you guys, a quick 10-second clip. But as you'll see, they brought the command staff out. The cruise director was leading the whole thing and it was packed. Man, we were shoulder to shoulder, you know, front to back, but man, what a cool thing. Just a quick countdown, light it up. I thought that was awesome.
Neil, did you bring the red button? Yes, you did. All right, very good, very good. Are you ready for a holiday cruise?
was awesome. And then once they did the countdown, everybody stayed and sang Christmas carols, and it just kind of helped solidify the holiday spirit, something you don't usually think about on a cruise ship when you have literally the entire promenade singing, "We wish you a Merry Christmas," and Jingle Bells and all the different carols.
Something else neat was that they actually had the big man in red on board. So Santa was on board the ship, and every single kid that came to see Santa got a gift, which is really neat. So that was super cool of Royal Caribbean to do. Santa also made a sneak guest appearance in our room. So I have pictures of that too, of Santa showing up for my daughter. And that was neat to actually do Christmas morning on board.
Yes, it was cool, and Santa was escorted by his elves. So he made pop-up appearances around the ship, so all the kids would get excited. They would know Santa's on board. And then Christmas morning, down in Studio B, they actually had a gift for every single kid that was on board. You just went down, you got to say hello to Santa, Merry Christmas, which was kind of cool, and coming to visit from the North Pole on the cruise ship.
Another cool holiday festive thing was that normally they have the standard ice skating show in Studio B, which they did on this cruise, and that was great. But the staff went out of their way, so the stingers and dancers and the ice skaters made their own holiday ice skating show just for that Christmas cruise, which was really neat.
Yeah, it was really special. They even organized all their costumes, and they choreographed their own show. So this wasn't a Royal Caribbean production per se, where they had somebody outside. They got together, they choreographed everything, had the music, got the lights, the whole production themselves. It was kind of really special to see how, if they had the option, how they would put on a show. And it was packed. If you didn't get there early, you didn't have a seat, and that was for both showings.
Yeah, it was really neat. So thank you to the staff there on Adventure of the Seas for doing that for us. That was really neat.
Another fun activity that was organized on our cruise was a stocking stuffer. So if you've been on other cruises where they've done gift exchanges, you'll see little gift bags or something hanging on doors. So this time, because it was for Christmas, everybody hung stockings on their doors. And we had 100 staterooms that were signed up for this. And the person who led this was very clear. You didn't have to do all 100, because that would have been a ton of rooms and a ton of things to bring with you. But every day you came back to your room, you had little gifts in your stockings, and it was a lot of fun. And so we also got to hang little stockings and little gift bags on doors as well.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those things that helped keep the Christmas spirit going. Every time we came back to the room, my daughter was so excited to find just a bag hanging on the door on our hook. And it was neat because we had rings and ducks and Christmas ornaments and trinkets and candy, slap bracelets, just all sorts of stuff. I mean, really the passenger gift exchange, everybody went all out when they did this, and it was a lot of fun.
So if you guys ever get to have a chance to participate in a gift exchange, highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. Doesn't take a lot of time or money. So definitely make sure you join on those if you see your cruises having a gift exchange. And
if you're curious, that's basically just led on the Facebook group. So you look for your Facebook group, your sailing date. So, Adventure of the Seas, 12/24/2023. And you find that Facebook group, and then boom, somebody in there will start it. And if they haven't, that's a good opportunity for you to start it. We just did one for this sailing now, and watch that video for that later, of us doing a quick gift exchange on this sailing as well. So it's very easy to do, very fun. And you just set your own boundaries for what you're willing to spend. Really, we just did a few dollars per bag, just fun stuff from the dollar store. And it seems to be kind of the going rate, but it's just a good time, just a nice little added surprise for the cruise. So we did get to go to a few places. We went to our favorite Caribbean port, Labadee. Like we said, we like it just because you don't have to worry about really anything. You just sit back, relax, and soak up the beautiful beach. Now, before, we've told you where we like to go, kind of in the middle, hang out. It's just far enough that some people don't want to walk there, and it's just before a tram station, so you don't have to worry about all the crowds actually getting off there. But this time, we decided to try a new spot, and I think it may have taken the cake.
Yes, so we wanted to be a little bit adventurous, and they were running the ferry. So in Labadee, they have a ferry that runs from the pier to Columbus Cove, and you can walk there, you can take the tram, but If the seas are just right, they'll have a ferry running, which is fun, and our daughter loved it too. But right when you get off the ship, there's a sign for the ferry, and you just kind of sit tight. It's a 5-minute ride, and they put you off right there at the cove. You walk down, you kind of feel like you're walking down the side of a mountain, like you're going into the jungle, but you're right along the edge of the forest, and you come out and you have these beautiful beaches, tons of seating. You've got the swings by the beach, the hammock in the water. So much fun, and it's absolutely stunning, clear view water.
Yes, as soon as you get off the ferry, it's like a cobblestone kind of path, just a rock path that you kind of follow down. It's got a couple lookout points for you to take pictures over the beach that she was describing. You know, you're gonna have the hammocks and the swings like she mentioned. I mean, it's really, really nice. The bar is super close, there's restrooms close by. And like she said, if the ferry's not there, it's really no big deal. You have the tram nearby, or you could walk there. I would guess it's probably a 10 to 15 minute walk. So you probably wanna look for the tram or the ferry if you're wanting to get there quick. But it was a great spot, and because it's on the other side of the island, it was protected from the wind and the waves. So that was really nice. So there weren't a lot of waves attacking the beach. So the little kids, like my daughter and some friends she met there, were able to really play in the water without any kind of hassle of getting knocked over or worrying about her getting swept out to sea.
Right? It's definitely a very family-friendly place to stay.
All right, this time, one of the main reasons we booked this specific sailing, even though it was a Christmas cruise, is because it was going to a port we hadn't been to yet. So this time we got to go to Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic, and that was a really cool experience. So if you haven't been there before, there's a huge port area called Taino Bay that they just built, and it is beautiful. We'll have some footage for you here going while we're talking. So Taino Bay is beautiful, tons of shopping, it's brand new, there's a free pool, a free lazy river, tons of bars, restaurants, very easy, but it is quite a walk from one end to the other. Now from the ships to the entrance of the port, they do have these little tuk-tuks you can ride, and we did take a tuk-tuk back to the ship because we were tuckered out by the time we got back. But we made it all the way through the port, and we decided to skip doing an excursion and did our own thing. So we walked into the city, and we wanted to go see a few things, one of them being the Pink Street. It's La Paseo de la Dona Blanca. So it is beautiful. We were told it's pink because the lady that owned the hotel that's connected to it had breast cancer, and this was like a memorial to her. So we have some footage of that here. And then right down the way, we were able to walk down maybe a block and a half, and we got to Umbrella Street, which is really neat because it reminded me a lot of the Umbrella Street you would see in Puerto Rico. So we got to see that as well. And then we walked up to their so-called Central Park. And it's really just a plaza, like a square, not so much a park, and definitely not anything compared to the Central Park you're thinking of. But it was still decorated for Christmas because we were there on Christmas Day. So we got to see these little like nativity sets and Santa Claus setups and just pretty wreaths to take pictures around, and that was really neat. The Catholic Church there was actually holding a mass, so we got to stop by and check that out as well. Afterwards, we were walking back down the streets. We ended up seeing a few pretty murals along the streetscapes. So, I mean, they have some mural artists out there that are really doing a good job of painting and making the city beautiful. One of these murals was a 2-story building painted in memory of a man's bulldog that he lost. And I mean, it is beautiful. So we'll put up a picture of that for you here too. On the way back to the port, as we were walking, we decided we were gonna try to walk to the teleferico, or the cable car. We were stopped by a local who warned us that it was not a good idea because to walk from where we were to that part of town is actually not a safe area. So he warned us and told us that he recommended us taking a taxi. So we didn't get a taxi from the port. I actually just found the taxi driver. You know, there was a Sienna minivan parked there, and it said taxi. We talked to the guy. He showed us his badge. He had a legit taxi badge, and he took us there, waited for over an hour and a half while we were there, and then brought us back to the port for under $20. So really couldn't complain about the fare there in the Dominican Republic for getting to and from the Skylift. All right, now the skylift itself was a different story. So we got there, like I said, our taxi driver said he would wait for us, which was awesome. So we go and we pay, it looks like there's nobody there. But you walk upstairs, and I'm assuming it's because it was Christmas Day, but it was packed. There were tons of locals there, tons of cruise ship passengers, and you go up and have these railings, and you just follow them kind of like a queue you would find at Disney World, just back and forth, and it does not move fast.
No.
You got to figure each car holds 6 to 10 people, and there's a pretty good gap in between cars, and they're not moving quickly. They did have these 3 local gentlemen playing local instruments that were kind of cool. One of them was literally like a box that he had put these metal plates in, for lack of a better word, and he was using it almost like a bass guitar. And we have video of that for you here. They were singing local Christmas songs and other local favorites, and the crowd was really getting into it.
The only bad part about the line was it was long and it was slow. So if you guys do go take the cable car, and when we go back to the Dominican, we'll definitely make sure we go there first for right when it opens, because probably every 30, 45 minutes you moved. So unfortunately, we did not get to actually go into the cable car and go up, because we asked the gentleman, we said, hey, how's the line when we get to the top? And they said it was very similar than the line here at the bottom. And because we did not have a cruise ship excursion, we didn't want to miss the ship. So we did leave, but we were able to get back some of our money. I think all but $5. We were able to get money back.
Yeah, they actually refunded all of it to us, and I just paid the guy $5 for getting us our money back. I felt like it was worth it.
So we did get some of our money back, and our taxi driver took us back. And this gentleman, he was really nice. So he was asking us if we wanted to eat somewhere local, or if he wanted to take us to a beach or something like that, just based on time. But it was near our daughter's nap time, so we didn't want to chance her being overtired, because she walked all over town with us and had lots of fun. So we just headed back to the port. Now, once we did get to the port, I know Stephen was mentioning earlier, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, but now it's probably been, a good 4 hours since we got off the ship?
I would say so.
It was slammed, y'all. So if you want to get one of those lazy river cabanas, if you want to get the beds that lay in the water and chill, you do need to get off of the ship earlier in order to kind of stake your claim. The other thing I noticed, which was really nice, not if you had to stand in the line, but the lazy river was monitored. So they didn't let random kids in, because I know when we are in lazy rivers, we like to chill. We don't like being splashed and run over by kids. So they were monitoring it. They only let so many people in at a time, so it would keep that relaxing environment, which I did appreciate.
Another neat thing is they have a chocolate factory there. I guess they're big on like raw chocolate. And they were giving out free samples of hot chocolate, and let me tell you, it was the best hot chocolate we've ever had. So we actually bought their hot chocolate mix to come back and make it home. Turns out I don't know how to make it.
We didn't ask them how they made it. We just drank it and said, this is probably the best hot chocolate we've ever had. Bought the bag. Didn't ask them how to make it, and the instructions are not on the bag, nor can you Google how to make this hot chocolate. So we'll just keep experimenting and see if we can figure out how to replicate this.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll go back, we'll be able to talk to them and actually figure out what we're supposed to be doing to make this. All right, our next stop was St. Thomas. We've been there a few times before and done many different things. She's done a tour of the city in a truck. I typically go scuba diving there, and she's done that with me before as well. However, this time, like she said, we had my in-laws with us, and my father-in-law wanted to do a tour with us. So we did one of those truck tours. You'll see it kind of looks like the bed of a Disney tram put on a pickup truck, and they just take us around the city. But it was actually really pretty island. It was basically driving up the mountain with a couple lookout points, but then it became really like him stopping at his friends' flea markets, for lack of a better word. It almost seems like they pay the bus drivers to stop at these places. So what started off as a nice, relaxing, scenic tour turned into, hey, we're gonna stop at this place for 10 minutes so you guys can go look at trinkets and buy things. We're gonna stop at this market for like 10 minutes and buy trinkets. Eventually we get to the top of the mountain to this world famous overlook.
And banana daiquiris.
Yeah, apparently they've sold over 2 million banana daiquiris. We didn't see a single person drinking while we were there, but they're selling them, I guess. So, but you get there and what do you think it is? It's a gift shop, a huge gift shop. You have to walk through to get to the scenic overlook. You get out there and you're able to look out over the islands and stuff. And our bus driver did come give us a little bit, tell us about the government island down there that's now owned by the US government. It's kind of like a peninsula that like Bill Clinton stayed at when he was having problems with his wife at the time. And then you walk through the gift shop because we're there for like 30 more minutes. And then you just take a tour all the way back down. It was neat getting to see the airport. They showed you a couple of the beaches, places you might want to go next time you're there. And then you got to see the ship from a couple really neat vantage points. So that tour, we negotiated it to about $30 a person with our daughter being free. You can negotiate that for yourself. Instead of paying for it on the cruise line ahead of time, we literally just walked through the port, got to where these guys were standing. They were asking if we wanted a tour. We said, yeah, they started around $48 a person. We drilled them down to $30 a person, gave them cash, and that was it.
One thing you do want to be careful of if you're not taking a cruise ship excursion is where this tour is taking you. So the second you leave the gated area, you're gonna have some vendors approaching you, asking you, where do you wanna go? What do you wanna do? They're gonna keep following you and walking with you. You can tell them no and this and that. When you go to leave the city, you're going to see all of those tour trucks lined up. And if you say, yes, I wanna go be on a tour, they're going to put you on a truck. And you might not know which tour you're getting into. So I did have to track down the driver of the truck and have him tell us where exactly he was going to be taking us. There are generic guys that just get your attention and get you onto the truck, and then each driver does their own little type of tour. So when you do go on to these tour trucks that are independent through the island, make sure you're asking the driver where they're going and what their stops are going to be.
All right, our next stop was St. Maarten. We had also been here a few times, but this time we were determined to go to Maho Beach, and we actually did a video for this on our Wakeview podcast, which we'll have pop up here for you if you want to watch that. It was very easy to get to. If you want to know exactly how to get to Maho Beach and the best way to do it for cheap, just click that video. We'll give you a step-by-step guide on exactly what you need to do. To save time for this video, let me just tell you, the beach is beautiful. It is not what I was expecting. We get there, the beach is lovely, the beautiful sand, beautiful water, mountains in the background, and then the airport is literally right behind you. So that was a really neat thing. Something else that you might want to know is there's a bar right there. It's called Sunset Bar. And they actually have a bar, they have food, they have the restrooms there, but the restrooms cost money. So it's $3 a person to use the restroom. However, they give you a $3 drink voucher credit to use at the bar. So it's not really a loss. They're just guaranteeing that if you're using the restroom, you're gonna spend money at their bar, which seems fair.
And you also can use the camera. So we were unaware of this and learned this tip this time around, to check the cameras on the beach to see how much beach is there. So depending on the time of day, you may have no beach. You might have 50 feet of beach. So you can also check that live feed there and see how much beach is there for you to put your towel down and enjoy those planes landing.
And I'll put a link right here, the website information for you, so that you can go to that website if you're planning on heading there. Another thing you want to know is that there's only about 100 beach chairs and umbrellas. So if you're wanting to have a beach chair and umbrella that's important to you, you need to get there early. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting on whatever you brought. So just plan ahead. And for more tips and tricks about Maho Beach, remember, just check out that video. Now, Maho Beach was cool. We got to see all different sorts of planes landing, helicopters landing, from small planes to big jumbo jets. Of course, we got to see the typical people getting blown off the fence, hats flying in the water, people getting sandblasted. It was all sorts of fun. If you're worried about it, the guardrail behind you is painted red and white, where the jet blast is from the planes. If you're outside of that, then you're fine. You don't have to worry about it. It's very clearly marked, and there's even signs on the fence. Very easy to do, very easy to know where you want to be and where you don't want to be. So if this is something that interests you, plane spotting, seeing the planes, getting that cool Instagram video of the plane coming right over you, then this is the place to go. So I definitely recommend it. Another fun thing on this sailing was they had a family fun festival. I've never seen one before on a Royal Caribbean ship. I don't know if that was a specialty thing they did for Christmas or not, but it was a lot of fun. They had it in Studio B, and all the kids were running around playing with the hula hoops and different games and passing the egg without breaking it, all sorts of things. They had cotton candy for a small charge, free face painting. I mean, it was a blast. It was literally all of our kids getting all their energy out at the same time, which was really nice.
Yes, and they had different types of popcorn, they had different cakes, they had lemonades and waters. So the only thing you actually had to pay for was the cotton candy if you wanted some. And the cotton candy was huge. So I want to say it was like $2.99, but you got your money's worth of cotton candy. And so our daughter enjoyed her face paint. She was a little too young for the games that they did down on the floor that were led, but she did try, and it was just crazy. We've never seen anything like that. We've been on Oasis class ships and they've done just the family time in the boardwalk, but this was family time just elevated with tons of fun, tons of activities, fun music. And definitely, if they did that again, our kid would be lined up at the front door waiting to get in.
They even had a scavenger hunt with like tickets underneath all the different seats and hidden different places, and the kids had to try to go find them and run back. They got the golden ticket, and they would get prizes for that. But what was really neat was the little kids that didn't really understand what was going on, like my daughter, they made sure all those kids got prizes too, and we really appreciate that. It's just Royal looking out for people, so thank you for looking out for the little ones.
Yeah, Adventure Ocean did a great job, and it was all run by those staff, so thank you, Adventure Ocean. You guys are awesome.
All right, the food on this ship, I gotta admit, was very miss. Not even hit or miss. If my in-laws hadn't been with us and wanted to go to the dining room, we wouldn't have gone to the dining room more than twice. The first 2 days, they kept messing up our orders, like almost like you would expect at like a drive-through restaurant. Went there, ordered like the jerk pork chop, got a piece of chicken, told the waiter, hey, I ordered the pork chop. He said, okay. And that was it. Messed up our drink orders every single night. I mean, it was so frustrating. Literally, I thought maybe it was a language barrier issue. So we like wrote down our drink orders, showed it to him. He's like, oh, okay, great. Assistant waiter took it, came back, still had the wrong drink order. I mean, it was bad. The service was long. It was not a good time. So I would probably skip the dining room on Adventure if I went back, just because it was not a good experience. I mean, 8 straight days is not just a fluke, right? That's a pattern. So the Windjammer was good. The food had flavor, but as far as service in the main dining room, I would pass.
And it was long. So when he says long, so generally like an hour, hour and a half for a party is about normal. We were there most nights 2.5 hours. Yep. So it was very long. And when you have a toddler sitting there for 2 and 2.5 hours, was tough. And sometimes we would miss our show, even though we would say we have a show that we're trying to go to, because we're still waiting on our food, or we'd have to just get up and leave because we didn't have an option. So we were very disappointed in the dining room on Adventure.
Now, the last thing we want to talk about is we actually had a medical evacuation on this trip. Not for us, thankfully, but there was one. We were basically off the coast of the Dominican Republic when we were told that we were diverting to Turks and Caicos for a medical evacuation. Obviously, for the privacy of the patient, they didn't tell us what had happened, but we diverted. It was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, we've been on ships before where the Coast Guard has come and met up with the ship and picked people off the ship, or even met us on the port at the piers, like at Coco Cay or Labadee, and taken patients from there. This time, for whatever reason, we had to divert to Turks and Caicos. Now, that's not a normal stop for Royal Caribbean. They don't port there. But we did get to see it. We didn't arrive till almost 8:30 at night, so it'd been 4.5 hours. We were expecting to see an ambulance there, waiting on the person, maybe an airplane, crew that had been brought by the ambulance, a helicopter. There was nothing. We didn't see an ambulance until almost midnight. It was like 12:15 when they finally loaded the patient and drove away. So that's quite an extended time for a patient to have to wait for a medical evacuation. However, the patient's wife was commenting on our Facebook group, letting everyone know the status, because obviously everybody was commenting and concerned. Now, the patient did have a serious condition where they had to be sedated and kept under, and apparently the medical staff there did a fantastic job, gave him outstanding care. When the flight crew finally got in from Fort Lauderdale around midnight is when the ambulance showed up. They loaded him up and flew him to Fort Lauderdale. So that was a really different experience to have to port there overnight. Some of the crazy things in Turks and Caicos, even at night, we got to see sea turtles just popping up right there next to the pier in the water, and wild donkeys. So there were wild donkeys just roaming around the port. There's nobody there to say it's free reign, and we're just roaming around, which is kind of fun to watch in those like 4 hours in between that everyone was waiting to figure out what time this medical evacuation was gonna happen. Now, thankfully, in case you're wondering, the patient did make it successfully to Fort Lauderdale, and they were released to go home several weeks later, and they're doing well and stable. So thank you to his wife for updating everybody. We're not gonna say names here to keep things anonymous and keep their privacy protected. But that was just a different experience too. So just something to think about on your end. If you're traveling, are you prepared for a medical emergency like that? Do you have travel insurance? Do you have something? That flight out of there is not gonna be cheap. I'm sure it is upwards of $20,000 to $50,000 to get home. What about the accommodations for your family or your friends that are on the cruise that have to get off now? It's something you really want to think about, and it really kind of struck home when we saw it happen this time. Normally the Coast Guard comes and we don't really think about it, but this time it was something completely different. So I would recommend having travel insurance, not just in case your cruise gets canceled or you miss a flight, but something like this where you have a medical evacuation, something you weren't planning on come up and you need to take care of yourself and your family. You don't want to be worried about how to do it then. There was actually a horror story we read in one of our Facebook groups where somebody got injured and went to a hospital in Mexico, and they refused to work on the patient until they paid $20,000 up front because they didn't have travel insurance. So please protect yourself so you don't put yourself in this situation.
Overall, we did have a good time on our Christmas cruise. Would highly recommend going on one. It was great. You had all the festivities, we had Santa, we had guests, we had lots of family time. It was just an enjoyable time. So I don't think we would go back on adventure until she gets refurbished and updated a little bit. There's lots of wear and tear that you could see visibly just around the ship. So yes, we do enjoy being on ships, but this one was showing her age and she needed a little bit of TLC.
All right, overall, it was a successful Christmas cruise. We had a lot of fun, and we would definitely recommend doing one. Maybe not on adventure, maybe that might be your style. But if you have done one, we'd love to hear from you. What did you think? Was there something we missed that we should have highlighted on your Christmas cruise? Thanks for watching the channel, and don't forget to like and subscribe.